So yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Last week we had a message, we're in our series, Lord of the Harvest. So last week I was talking about what is Lord of your life. Lord meaning what is the master and what is the ruler of your life. We should take a look at ourselves. We need to examine ourselves and see what really is important to us and what is ruling the roost, we used to say once upon a time. And so today I want to continue with that and with my message, which I call Speak Life. Because whatever is Lord of our life is usually what we're speaking and communicating within ourselves and what we're communicating within people. That's why the heart thing is, because what's in our heart is eventually going to probably come out of our mouth. If we just hang around long enough and just stick in there long enough, we'll see. So today I'm going to be talking about speaking life, which in many ways is what I'm saying is sowing seeds. Now I do have a little demonstration for you. I'm back to my bag of tricks, so to speak. Many of you will know what this is, because back in the day they used to have what's called a sower. Anyone remember that? And the sower was like they would put, this is back in the day, right? They would put the bag of seeds on, reach their hand in the bag of seeds, and sow the seeds. Now, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to throw a bunch of seeds and stuff all over you guys. We had to clean up later. Now, some people don't see that imagery that I showed you right there. Some of you do get that. Some of you need a more modern day image of that. So let me give that to you, see? Because then, now we got that, you hook the blower on there and you're right, and you blow it all over the place. And then some of you are from farming communities and you know better than that. So there's big old tractors almost as big as this room that will just blow and will plant seeds. But that's the concept I want you to have in your mind, is that we are constantly sowing seeds, and seeds that we're sowing them with the things that we say. That when the seed gets out there and we throw it, we have what we call seed, which is what I'm talking to you about. We have time, and then we have harvest. We plant seeds or we throw them out there. If you give it a little bit of time and water it, it will grow, and then there will be a harvest. So we have within our potential in speaking, we are sowing seeds. We're sowing seeds into other people's lives, and we're sowing seeds into our own lives. Because as we speak, some of the things that we speak has an effect on the people who we're speaking to or who hears the word, but they also have an effect on us. So I'm going to be talking about that today. I'm going to give you the answers to your notes there. I'm going to give them to you, and then I'm going to bounce around a little bit as I'm talking about speak life. Everybody say speak life. Yes, we are supposed to be speaking life, and obviously the opposite of life is death. So let's see what we're talking about there. Number one in your notes, we have the power to speak life and death into ourselves and others. We have that potential. Number two, our words create actions that are both good and bad. Our words create actions that are both good and bad. And number three, our tongue reveals what is in our heart. Our tongues will reveal what is in our heart. And then number four, what our tongue produces has eternal implications. Eternal implications, which I'm going to give you the scriptures and talk about all that. But the first scripture I want to talk about that we get a basic understanding is how powerful our words are and how our words create action. Now, we don't have to go very far in the Bible to see that. In fact, we can go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. Right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then we know that there was darkness, there was void, there was nothing going on. And what did God do to bring those things into creation? He spoke them. So what can we get from that? We can get that there can be nothing there, and when there was nothing there, God spoke, and then there was something. And I would submit to you today that the same thing still happens. That there can be in our lives, in people's lives, there can be nothing, and then when we speak, we create something from nothing. So what would be some examples of that? I didn't put this in your notes because I just thought of it yesterday, so I'm going to have to give it to you, and if you like it, you're just going to have to write it down. Humans reveal themselves by what they say, and they also reveal who God is to them by what they say. One more time. Humans will reveal who they are with what they say. And we know we could add in what they do. And they will reveal who they think God is by what they say. Because if you believe that God is who he is and you're following his principles, you'll watch what you say. Not so many, thank you, Barbara, not so many amens on that, but I think it was the truth. I think it was. So, if God, in the very beginning, Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 3, demonstrates to us that there is power in our words, there's power in the spoken word, then we ought to be careful what we say. Because we have the power to change someone's life. We have the power to speak life. We have the power to speak death in the very words that we said the same as God. That's why the next thing that I have for you is called Lord of the Mouth. Everybody say, Lord of the Mouth. Now, there's no such thing as Lord of the Mouth. It just came in my head, and I said, you know, I like the sound of that. Lord of my mouth. So, what is Lord of our mouth? Is what we're going to try to examine today. And just actually take a look at that. Because our mouth, as I'm saying to you right now, has the power to change things physically, mentally, and spiritually. Everybody say physically. Say mentally. And spiritually. We can do that with our mouth and what it is that we're saying. Well, let's take a look. Proverbs 18, 20 and 21. From the fruit of their mouth a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips they are satisfied. The tongue has the power of what? The power of life and death. So there's your answer number one. We have the power to speak life and to speak death. In a very general sense, we get that and we understand that. You know, when in a courtroom, when the judge slams his gavel down and he says, I sentence you to. Well, he's got the power, or she's got the power of life and death. I sentence you to death by however they're going to do it on this day and this time. That is speaking death into someone's life. We hear all the time, we're just become numb to it, but on the television, the radio, the internet, people are just speaking life and speaking death, and mostly speaking death all the time. It's no wonder people are just angry, upset, don't smile, because we're just inundated with all the time. If you're listening to it, I would recommend that you limit some of that and not constantly inundating yourself with that type of bad news, and people speaking death into your life. Depression is running rampant because no one has anything positive to say to anybody else. Speak life. We also know that a doctor could speak life to you. They can give you speak life or death into you if you believe what it is they're saying. We also know that a lot of people harm other people. They hurt people because of what it is they said to them. That's why the law says that there doesn't matter what anybody says to them, you don't have a right to put your hands on them. In other words, they can say whatever they want to say. But the truth of the matter is you can't say whatever you want to say. You couldn't do that in my life. Now, I'm saved now. I hope I'm still saved like that. But people used to say stuff, and I'm like, oh no. Am I the only one? I mean, I used to provoke people with my words. I would provoke them, trying to get them to jump first, because I knew what the law was. So I'll say something to you. I already measured you. I know where you are and where you're standing. I know how far my legs will go, how far my arms will go, and I'm going to say something to you. And then after I finish saying it, I said to him, now if you feel like a frog, leap. Come on. Because I know they didn't like what I said. I even had something else we used to say back in the day. There's nothing stopping you but air and opportunity. And you sucked up all the air. So what? Trying to provoke. Now what about people who provoke people and they do leave? You guys know that people kill other people strictly by what they say. But we also can speak life if we want to. We don't have to provoke people with our words. We have choices in what it is that we can say and we can do. But through our words, we can create an action by someone else, and an action by ourselves. James 3, which I would suggest, if you're interested in this, to read chapter 3, because I'm only going to give you an excerpt. James 3, 5 and 6 says this. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set afire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. Across the whole body sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and in itself set on fire by hell. That tongue. Before this, he's talking about a horse. And you guys know good and well, you can take that big old 1,000, 2,000 pound horse, put a bit in his mouth and yank him and get him to go wherever you want him to go by just putting a bit in his mouth. That's what James tells us earlier, that the mouth is powerful. He also uses the example of a big old ship. Think of a great big old cruise ship or a destroyer or an aircraft carrier or something is guided and turned which way to go by a little bitty rudder that's in the back of the boat. Will move the whole ship. And so it is with us and our tongue and the things that we say and the things that we say to other people has the power of life and death, and in it can set fires or put them out. And he says right here, the tongue is so powerful that people are using their mouth and talking too much and saying the wrong thing and end up in hell because of the stuff they're saying to people. So your tongue can end you up right in hell if you don't get control over it or let God get control over it. James 3 and 8 says, but no human can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. You can't control your tongue. We need God to help us with our tongue, because our emotions can get the best of us, because people, trust me, are always doing something. They are. They're doing things, and usually when we say something, it's because someone said or did something that we don't like. So really, the examination isn't about what they did. The examination is about what we do, about what they said, because we don't have to do anything. Because there's power of life and death in the tongue. Haven't you ever said something to somebody and you went, oh man, I wish I had said that. And it's too late because you already said it. And now, I don't know why an apology doesn't always carry the same weight as what you said, but it doesn't seem to. It doesn't mean. I mean, you can say it, but once you say it and it gets out there, it's out there. And you said it and you're like, oh. I have to be honest with you. Sometimes I do measure what I want to say, but someone said something, and I've got quick to come back with them, and God will be like, don't say that. Oh, but they deserve it. And they could deserve it. Now listen, that's entirely possible. That whatever you're about to say, they deserve to hear it, is a possibility. And God will be like, don't say that. But I want to. They actually need to hear this from me, because such and such is afraid to tell them about themselves. And I'm not. And so, come on. I can have that conversation with God in 3 seconds, what I just said to you. And then sometimes I'll just say it. And I'll tell you, every single time, it's never worked out. Hard-headed. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better about it. But sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to just, no. It's just, I'm just being honest. You know, like, because you know what, something else? When you're saying something that you're going to say to somebody in your head, and then you say it, it never really sounds quite the same as when you were saying it in your head. When the Spirit of God is on you, and then you say something, especially if He told you not to say it, then when you say it, it just doesn't have the same whatever you thought it was going to have in your head. You're like, damn, you were right, God, I shouldn't have said it. Now, what am I going to do about that? Anyone here tell yourself, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to use these words anymore. And you turn around and get yourself in the situation, say it again. The exact same thing you already had told yourself, I'm not going to say that anymore. Anyone have that happen? You're like, oh, how did that happen? I said it. I told myself, I prayed to God. I'm like, oh, man. And then I got right in that situation. And in the heat of the moment, I said what I said I wasn't going to say. I'm not going to use these words anymore. Anyone have that happen? You got to turn it over to God. And I'm going to tell you what the secret of it is. Because there is praying about stuff to God, and then there's agreement with God. Because we can pray to God about stuff and not be in agreement with God said about it. Okay, somebody didn't get that. So let's get them some coffee, David, and let me say that again. Let me say that again. We can pray to God about stuff, and we will keep on doing the stuff because we don't agree really in our heart what God has said about that thing. And when we actually agree with God and what God says in His Word about things and then present it to Him because He knows our heart, then we can change. But the key is we have to agree with what God has said about it. And when we agree with Him, then the change is. Otherwise, that's why people keep praying about the same thing over and over. Well, I prayed about that. I prayed about that. Well, I've been praying about that for. Well, you just need to examine your heart, because what does God, first of all, have to say about it? Do you know it, and do you agree with Him? And I'll bet you money that if you check it out, you'll go, something inside of you does not agree. And it's usually you just want to keep on doing it. It's pleasurable for you at that particular point. But I think I read somewhere where the wages of sin is death. So even though the seed is being sown, the death hasn't come yet, but it's coming. It's coming. If the word is what it is. So we can get through some stuff for a season, for sure. We definitely can. But the wages, the seeds that get sown are going to get watered, and when they water, they are going to provide a harvest, both good and bad. So the trick for us then is going to be plant good seeds. That's the whole message, right? Plant good seeds, which we can do. We can do that. Here's a little assignment for you. So this week, say something nice to somebody and watch what happens. Because what I said a minute ago, that people just speak death so much and just meanness so much. Just say something nice to someone this week. Say, I don't really like that dress you have on. Or did you do something with your hair? You really, really, that's nice. And watch them, and they'll be like, what do you mean? You know why? Because they don't hear it very often. That's why. And so when someone's being nice to them, they're wondering what you want from them. And you don't want anything. You just want to say something nice. Say something nice to somebody and watch what happens. And then next Sunday, come back and whisper it to me and tell me what happened when you said something nice or something. And then first start off by saying something nice to yourself. Because certainly a part of this speaking death thing is our internal conversations we have with ourselves. It's part of it as well. And we have to speak life to ourselves. Now, I grew up with, my stepfather used to tell me all the time, you ain't nothing and you ain't never going to be nothing. Stuff like that. I'm not the only one that's been hearing those messages. My brothers and sisters used to tease me when I was young. Because, you know, physically, we can always find something to talk about. I know I can. Maybe I can speak for myself. Because that's the way I was growing up, that you had to, say, be able to defend yourself, find some flaw in someone, and attack it. That's right, attack it. I know it's perverse, but I'm just telling you what it was like in my neighborhood. And if you didn't have what equipped with the tongue, you just didn't nothing where I grew up. So my brothers and my sisters used to call me Big Eyes. See, what you're seeing before you right now, actually I graduated high school, and I grew 3 inches in 1 year. So I haven't always been this big. I grew 3 inches in 1 year, and I don't know how my body caught up with each other, but my brothers and my sister and the people used to call me Big Eyes. So I don't know if my eyes hadn't caught up with all that. And they would insult me, they call me Big Eyes, and then they take off. Big-eyed Kenny, and then they gone. And they couldn't get away because I'm the older brother, and I'd catch them and I'd punish them. But you know, sometimes it was worth it to them to get that dig on me, even though they knew they were going to get punched out for doing it. So I grew up, I was like, I got big eyes, and it was a negative thing. Then I think it was in middle school or 6th grade or something, some girl, I don't even remember who she was, said, you sure do have pretty eyes. What? Like, what? He said, yeah. I said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? They're just brown eyes. She said, I know, but you're so crazy, and they just light up when you start talking. You know what? I ain't believed nobody yet when they were talking about my eyes since that day. They say to me, Big-eyed Kitty. I go, they're pretty though. Why? Because somebody spoke some life into me. Amen. With just a couple of kind words, just changed the course of how I thought myself. I don't even remember who it was. I don't remember the year it was. I know I was young. And it just changed. We have the power to speak life into people. We have to measure our words before we say them. Especially you Christians. You must measure your words before you speak them. Just because the doctor spoke some words doesn't mean you got to repeat it. Oh, the doctor said that, oh, I got nothing. Oh, no. Does anyone have a testimony where someone saw something on an x-ray, someone got prayed for, and they went back and looked at the x-ray and went, I don't know where that went. I do. I heard one just 2 weeks ago with my daughter-in-law. I mean, it's fast. Her dad was in bad shape. She went up and prayed for him. The x-ray was all jacked up. And they went and she prayed, and they looked at the x-ray and went, why are you here? We don't see any of that. So what the doctor does not have the last word. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has the last word. But you got to be able to speak life into that. So they said that all they did was gave you some information. That's all they did. Was gave you some information on how you should be praying. That's all it was. Take it as that. Speak life into yourself. Speak life into the person who got that report. Tell them it's going to be okay, and because you never know what God wants to do with them. They don't get the doctor doesn't get the last word. Jesus does. Hallelujah. Speak life. Because it has lasting power, eternal implications. What our tongue produces has eternal implications. This is what Jesus said. Matthew 12. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. A good man or woman brings good things out of the good stored up in him or her, and the evil man or woman brings out evil things that are stored up in him or her. Jesus said that. So whatever is stored up in your heart is eventually going to come out your mouth. Because people don't always do what they say they're going to do. Anyone else notice that? They'll tell you one thing and do something else. That's entirely possible. And then they'll tell you, but eventually, we used to say back in the day, everything comes out in the rinse. Anyone familiar with that? Oh, it's going to come out in the rinse. In the Bible, if I wanted this to be all super spiritual and stuff, the Bible says it's going to come to light. A light is going to get put on it, which is the light of truth. And whatever it is a person is saying, whatever we're saying, a light is going to get put on it. When the light is put on it, you won't be able to hide it from people. So might as well bring it to the light now and speak the truth. I think it's interesting that we live in an electronic age, right? So we have to think about, you know, this iPad, what am I saying in emails, and what am I saying when I send all that? What am I saying on this right here? First of all, we have to think about it. Are these words? Does the scripture I'm going to read about, does that also apply to what I text, what I email, what I voicemail? Does that apply to that? Let me tell you it does. In case you're tossing that around in your brain, I don't want you to work so hard. It does. Why? Because through this and through this, we have the power to speak life and death in people. And we do. We speak life and death in these things because this is just a modern version of what they were talking about back here. I don't know what the modern version of it is going to be in another 100 years or so, but there's going to be one where you walk in the room and someone has thought something and it's up on the wall. You don't even have to push a button. There's just thinking this one up there. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's still the power of the words. And you know good and well, you got to be careful with this thing anyway. You could be probably telling home and said, I'll be home, honey, because I think you're funny. And if that spell checking thing is corrects the words for you, you read it again and be like, I love you, honey, but I'm a Playboy bunny. I mean, you don't know what the thing says if you don't come back and read it. Anyone ever seen one of them things and every week someone got hot or whatever, and you're like, oh, man, I should have looked. Yeah. So this right here, huge. I'm going to tell you something else this does while I'm on. This right here is very impersonal. And I'm going to tell you, this right here and these things right here cause people to be mean that would not be mean otherwise. There's a game I like to play on this thing right here called Dirty Hearts. I don't know if you all remember how to play it. It's not gambling or anything, but I go on a World Wide Web and play that game. And people can talk to each other on there. And they can get on there and say something and you will hear it. And people are just mean. The stuff that they're saying, this is where I'm going with that. People will say stuff on this and say stuff on this. They never say if they were standing in the room because they can't back it up. No, you wouldn't. If you were sitting right here or standing right here, you would not say that. Because you look at me and you go, oh man, I better not say that. Right? But through this electronic age, it allows people who would not be mean to be mean, right? The ones who used to get bullied, the picked on or whatever, are like, I'm not going to get picked on and bullied on this because I can say whatever I want and do whatever I want. And they're saying and doing a bunch of mean stuff to people on this that they wouldn't do otherwise. So then it ends up being a tool of the devil. I don't know how else to say it. That's why we must be careful what we're doing and what we're saying on these things. Because there is power of life and death in these words, in what we're saying and doing with people. So what's in our mouth? What kind of seed are we sowing with our mouth and with our fingers? Matthew 12:36 says this. This is Jesus continuing talking. He tells you this. But I tell you that everyone will give an account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. Somebody say, oh, man. Oh. I'm like, I'm be honest with you, I'm not going to go with that. Because I already told you, I said some mean stuff intentionally. And I'm guilty. Just guilty. people think that we're going to go to heaven and we're going to be in the seat of Christ and we're sitting there and give an account to Jesus, which we clearly are going to have to do that. And we're going to sit there and go, on June the 6th, 2011, remember when you said, blah, 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 blah. And on April the 9th of, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be like that. This is what I think is going to happen. Something's going to get downloaded to you. All of that stuff instead is going to get downloaded to you in a nanosecond. You know why I say that? Because we can do that anyway, right? You know the computers can do that. Woo! Download millions of bits of information, and so we have the capability of doing that. I know Jesus does. It's not going to be a long process. Something's going to get downloaded to us, and we're going to get it, and we're going to understand it in the blink of an eye. Then after we get it, and whatever happens with that, and he's going to go, but it's cool. See these scars? Run that blood? Come on. Come on. You messed up, but come on. Amen? Amen? What's going to happen? Here it is. Here's what we got to get out of this. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Here's our goal. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. Let's read that together, shall we? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for the building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Woo, that's a tall drink of water. That's a tall drink of water. Let nothing come out of your mouth if it isn't going to build somebody up and is edifying. Some versions say edifying, right? And edifying means building up the other person. If it isn't going to build them up, if it isn't going to make them feel better, if it isn't going to make them see the Christ that is in you, then don't say it. Ooh. Ooh. That's what we're striving towards. That's what it is that we're moving to. And only one person did that I'm aware of, and that's Jesus. He was able to do that. The rest of us are walking. Some of us are taking big, long strides to it. Some of us are baby stepping towards it. But wherever we are, God wants to take us where we are today with our understanding of what his expectations are. And his expectations are that when I say something to you, I'm trying to build you up. Can you imagine heaven, somebody? Heaven is a place where everybody there has everything good to say about you, and nothing bad is being said. No bad thoughts are there. Everything is meant for your good and for your edification. It's hard to imagine in this world that we live in right now that every single person you encounter has your best, your very, very best in mind. So we're supposed to mimic that as we're here on earth as best we can. To give you a couple strategies that, kind of work with me, and really it's just old school stuff, but they used to say, bite your tongue. You ever heard that? Oh, bite your tongue. In other words, don't say that. But I took that literally. People were trying to say something to me, and I'm like, I don't like that, what they said. I'll just put my tongue right in between my teeth, because you cannot talk with your tongue in between your teeth. And I just stop, and I'm like, I'll put my tongue right between my teeth and don't say anything. I'm not all bad. Sometimes, I heard what I said earlier. People say something like, but, God is like working with you. We also have the 3 and the 5 second rule, right? Everything somebody says or does doesn't call for a response from us. It doesn't. They say something like, all right. You go. We don't have to say something back. That's for real. We don't. God has kind of been putting on my heart because we are moving into a season, a Thanksgiving season. You heard what Dana said in her prayer and stuff up there. And I actually had it in my notes and stuff, Dana. So, hello, everybody.
Holy Spirit.
Only one, Spirit.
Amen.
And that's what I have in my notes because somebody out there does need to forgive somebody or something. And maybe it's something that they said. That's why this message is about that. Maybe it's something that they did. And we're moving into a season where that type of forgiving and that type of stuff is in order. And if it's you, then God, the Spirit of God is talking to you. You hear my voice, but it's the Spirit of God.
Yep,
And
right.
this is a time when you can mend something and bring something back together that's been torn apart. And it doesn't matter how long. It could be a sibling or something that, you know, you've been your brother and sister for 50 years, however old you are, and you've been quarreling, you haven't been talking, but this is the year, this is the time, this is the season to speak life into the relationship.
That's right.
You can do it.
Thank you, Lord.
Don't get up from here and run out there and get on the phone and call them. Get up from here and go back and pray to God about what you should say. Spend the time in the season in prayer with God about to soften their heart. Prepare the way, God. Show me the way when I get there, God. When I call them there, God. When I do this or that with them, God. Tell me what to do and say and soften their heart. So when the call comes, then I'm ready to do it. Because you ran in front of me and I didn't get ahead of you. Well, Pastor said go call him. You go call him, it'll be all jacked up. No, take it to the Lord.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what to do. He'll tell you the time, and he'll make the way, and you'll just go, oh, how did that happen? But when the time and opportunity comes, leap like a pro.
Yeah.
Do it.
I can go.
In this time and in this season. I don't know who that word is for. Maybe it's for somebody online. But just take advantage of that. Amen? Mike, why don't you guys come on up here? So this is the message that we are the Lord and we have the power in our heart and we have the power in our mind to speak life. So really, give it a try. I'm going to. Next week, I'm going to make it, because I told you to do one, so that means I'm going to do more than 2 months. I'm going to do 2 or 3 or 4. I'm going to go even one better. I'm going to try to speak life into somebody every day next week. And I'll probably come up here with a testimony, because I know, right? You try to speak life to people, sometimes they don't accept it, but that's not on them. That's on me to speak it. It's not on me what their reaction to it is. So give it a try this week, and like I said, next week, come back with, when we were at 5 for fellowship or whatever, tell me what happened. You just spoke life. And you know where you can practice? In your house. Don't complicate it. Honey, you know how much I love you, and I'm so happy that you are the mother of my children and that grandchild that's sitting there. I couldn't imagine life without you. That's one. Easy. Oh, it's easy. It's easy. I meant every word of it. Amen. Give it a shot, everybody. God bless you.